Hi everyone, my name is Jen Wade. I'm the area engineer for MoDOT here in the city of St. Louis. Today we're out here on Hall Street to talk about road diets. A road diet is anytime you're kind of downsizing the lanes or reducing the number of lanes in order to achieve some speed modulation, so slower speeds, smoother traffic flow, and reduce crashes. So here on Hall Street, we had a cross section with 4 lanes, so that's 2 lanes in each direction with no center turning lane. And we've switched to this configuration. So there's 1 lane in each direction now carrying through traffic. And then we left the center lane available for turning movements. So people who now want to get in that center lane to wait and make their left turn lane, or to make their left turn, they don't need to hold up traffic behind them and create that congestion to get people around them to get around a waiting vehicle there. In this location, it's a very industrial area. So it's a certain type of road diet that we did here. Like I said before, the center lane is reserved for those turning movements, but in areas like we're in right now, there are no turning movements. The lots are really big and the driveways are far away. So what we were able to do here is put a center median in this area, and that helps people slow down and not use that center lane for passing movements. So this median is actually innovative installation for us. We needed to make sure that people were not driving over it, but we also wanted the water flow to be able to cross through. So you see bumps in the median here. It's got a concrete median, and it's very jarring to drive over. So people can cross over it in cases of flooding, but they'd have to travel very slowly. So we really can't implement a road diet in a place where the traffic volumes are too high. That's always the first thing we look for, is just to make sure that the new road configuration can actually handle the volumes that we have. And here we are in the middle of a work day and traffic's flowing great. Okay, so here we are today at Natural Bridge now. This is a road that we wanted to institute a road diet because we saw a lot of pedestrian fatalities on this road. In fact, there were 14 pedestrian fatalities in this 6 miles in a 5-year period. That's extremely high. There is a lot going on in this neighborhood. We're here by Fairgrounds Park. There's lots of businesses, places to eat, grocery stores, and bus routes that go down this road. A lot of people in this area rely on the bus to get around. So there's a ton of pedestrian activity here. This road, before the road diet, had about 80 to 100 feet between this curb and the other curb. So it's an extremely wide roadway that includes parking lanes, driving lanes, turning lanes. And when pedestrians needed to cross the road, they would usually just go. What you see in an area that has even a little bit of speeding is that by the time you leave the curb, you actually don't know if there's any car that can make it to you by the time you get to that far curb. A couple things that we did here was we used a median in the center. Now this is a bit odd. We don't always do it this way. The city of St. Louis was interested in possibly putting trains down the middle of this road in the future. It had been part of a long-range plan for many years. It hadn't really gotten off the ground, but they were worried about us narrowing the roadway and removing that option in the future. So what we did on this road was the extra space that we didn't need for vehicles anymore, we filled up with center medians, which is great. Now we've got a very short distance from this original curb to that median. So even if a person's not using a crosswalk, they still have a much shorter exposure to traffic, and they only have to look in one direction at a time. All of this has come together to make this a much safer roadway for pedestrians. We've seen over 70% reduction in fatalities on this whole roadway, and we weren't able to do this kind of treatment for the whole roadway. And so we're optimistic that as we're able to put in these installations in the gaps that we didn't get with the first project, we can see that number drop even more. So here we are now at Choteau Avenue in St. Louis City. This is a road diet that we did. We're now calling this a paint-only road diet. So it did go from a 4-lane section down to 3 lanes. And what's unique here is we did not install any of those concrete medians down the center. So this center lane stays a turning lane, a 2-way turning lane, the whole length of Choteau. That does mean that people can use this in an unapproved way as a passing lane. And so for that reason, it doesn't necessarily have as much traffic calming effects as you might see in an area like Natural Bridge, where we had those raised medians and raised parking bump outs. Okay, so here we are on Grand in St. Louis City. This is a pretty different level of investment in a road diet than we've seen in the other locations we visited. In this case, the business community here really wanted to see an enlivening of this area. They wanted to see more people able to walk from the neighborhoods and feel safe when they're moving around here. So there is an additional tax in this neighborhood on the businesses along this corridor. It helps pay for some of these landscaping treatments and some of the improvements that you see here. So when this road diet was completed, it was a 4-lane road and it has gone down to a 3-lane roadway. They were able to add in some additional parking, and they changed that curb line. So you do see the curb even remove some parking right at the intersections and help keep traffic moving at a more smooth and calmer pace. What we've seen is that it has worked wonderfully. The businesses here are thriving. There's lots of restaurants and local shopping. The neighborhoods around here have really benefited from having this amazing resource nearby. It's a very different level of investment, but on a local level, a lot of times you'll see this, that a Main Street environment is really looking to rejuvenate, and this is a neat option.